So this is really wonderful to see so many people here to celebrate together and coming together for our annual meeting of the Acton Boxborough United Way. We're going to have a lot of speakers, and I have our year in review, but to get us started, first of all, I want to welcome Senator Eldridge, who's here tonight, and he's going to speak later. He's going to speak later, but I just wanted to recognize him. So to get us started tonight, it's a year in review. It's a celebration of my 10 years, celebration of board service, and welcoming a new executive director. So there's a lot to celebrate tonight. And to get us started, we're so honored that Mike Tobia from Mount Calvary Community Supper is going to get us started with some words. Brad Brown thinks I'm going to cry, and I think he's right, because it's already starting.
In January of 2012, I first met Rachel. She had heard about the community supper, the closing of the community supper, and that supper was closed for about 7 months. I told her that there was a small group at Mount Calvary that was interested in reopening the supper. And what we basically had at that point in time was some volunteers, a location, and some grant funding from Mount Calvary, and that we badly needed her help. She agreed on the spot. And I'm here tonight, proud to wear this apron, to let you know that since we started with Rachel's help, we've served over 30,000 meals to the residents of Acton Boxborough. 30,000. I talk about that at every one of our grant meetings for two reasons. The first is because it's true, and the second is because every time I kind of give that story, Rachel smiles like she's smiling right now. But the Acton Boxborough United Way has been more than just an organization that provides funding to us. They've been a partner to us from day one. They've been involved with us at the supper. They've also been part of our 100 holiday meals. And which for us has been very important, they've connected us to other organizations that exist within the community where either we've been able to help them or they've helped us. And we could not have done that without Rachel's help. She's been a fighter for us from day one. She believed in the very, very beginning, when I first met her. She knew that there was a void by that supper closing. She knew. So quite frankly, I didn't have to do a lot to convince her. In fact, I look back at my email trail. So obviously I have a separate supper folder. So my first email on the supper is the one from Rachel saying, yes, move forward, we're going to approve this. And that was when it was outside of the normal grant process. So that was a big deal for us. That was a big deal for us. We're now up to an average of 110 guests every week. We started at 30, and we've stayed at 110 since last summer. So every week we're serving 110 families. I've got to read my last couple of lines because it deals with your website. So I checked your website out, and what I found was, it says, this is what we do, we at the Acton Boxborough United Way. Warmth, safety, a full stomach, health, and companionship. And when you think of those, It's these human needs that we both embrace through tremendous volunteers that give of their time and their talents to serve our community. Thank you, Rachel, from Mount Calvary and from our 110 guests.
So 10 years ago, I didn't need reading glasses. I made and large font, even with reading glasses. So thanks again, everyone, for coming together. By coming together, we recognize the incredible community that we have here. We have our volunteers that keep us going, the tremendously talented human service agencies assisting residents in need. We really want to thank our sponsors that are on the back of our annual meeting program, especially Bank of America, which supported this with a $10,000 grant, our annual meeting tonight. And I have to, before I get into so much more, I have to recognize the staff who are so intelligent, so thoughtful, so caring, and they really have my back. Jill Sekiris and Megan Blute Nelson. So thank you so much. Thank you. So we're going to have some great speakers tonight, and we're also going to have terrific theater tonight. And both of them embody creativity and resilience of our community. I want to personally express my heartfelt appreciation for the honor and opportunity to make a difference here in Acton and Boxborough. Working with Jeannie Mayer and the Board of Directors has been a terrific partnership. Under their leadership, Acton Boxborough United Way programs and revenue have grown and flourished. Acton Boxborough United Way supports our towns during a crisis, but also for the long term. The crisis of mental health issues and the tragedy of suicide has been hard and heartbreaking. We walked together in deep sorrow, but we renewed our commitment to mental health and suicide prevention by building a community response, resilience, prevention, coming together. We're really extremely proud to be a co-founding member of AB Cares. It's a coalition, vibrant coalition that seeks to prevent suicide across the lifespan and support and recognizes all who are impacted by suicide. Many people are here tonight, and I'm just going to go through the list because it's a very impressive group. The Acton Boxborough Stowe Clergy Association, Acton Boxborough Regional School District, Danny's Place Youth Services, Elliott Community Human Services, Minuteman Senior Services, Riverside Trauma Center, the town of Acton, it's the Department of Health, the Police Department, and the Community Services Coordinators from both Acton and Boxborough. This is a large coalition of people who all have leadership positions, and we come together every month and we really tackle the issues that are happening immediately, long term, and we also support each other because the people on the front lines need that support as well. I have to drink water. I have some. Hey. So with funding from our Acton Boxborough United Way Healthy Teen Initiative, we began Question, Persuade, Refer, or QPR, suicide prevention training for all of the community members free of charge. With our AB Cares partners, almost 1,300 people in the Acton Boxborough community, including school personnel, have been trained in QPR suicide prevention in 2 years. I think that's amazing. It's students, it's parents, it's frontline providers, and we continue. New trainings in the last year have happened every single month. We are so grateful to have this coalition. Our vision is a community that is resilient and responsive and free from stigma, so that anyone who's affected by mental health issues, either directly or indirectly, is supported and cared for. Acton Boxborough United Way is there for the long term. Our work touches residents at every stage and every struggle. Whether it's the preschooler who's having language issues and needs early intervention, a high schooler struggling with depression, or a senior trying to age at home. We have a unique role as a connector and develop deep networks of community leaders, including the frontline human service providers, the faith community, and the schools. We're local. Every dollar raised here stays here. We say it a lot. We're really proud. This is an inspiring and a powerful mission that motivates us every day as your community philanthropy. We want to share our pride today with you as we invest over $100,000 in our community impact grants this year. We're proud of the many programs we co-sponsored addressing the full range of human service needs, from caretaking to addiction, to aging, to resilience, and what gives us hope. Lastly, we're proud and grateful that our residential giving has more than doubled in 10 years. The Acton Boxborough United Way is a strong organization. We're small, but we're mighty, and it's poised for continued growth. We want to thank all who have supported us financially, as well as the volunteers and all the attendees that have come to so many of our programs and made them better. We're humbled by and we deeply respect the human service agencies that are out there on the front line supporting the residents who need it most. One of my favorite quotes is by Coretta Scott King. She says, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." Acton and Boxborough measure high on all accounts. Thank you. I cried all day every time I read it in front of my daughter, but I made it through. So moving down the agenda, this is when we get to thank our outgoing board of directors, who are the life and blood of the organization. So I now have the distinct pleasure of recognizing Jeannie Mayer. Jeannie Mayer has been our president for 2 years, 6 months with Jen Stone as her mentor. And Jeannie has guided our organization with her vision and her caring. She has so many leadership qualities. I'm just going to name a few. She has fantastic and diplomatic correspondence skills. When I need her to say something nicely and I'm at a loss, she knows. She knows. As board chair, she doubled her gift and challenged the board and raised a significant amount more money this year. And she came to me, she said, "Do you think this is a good idea?" I'm like, yes! I also just want to thank Jeannie personally. She's really been there when I needed her. And I have actually called her 4 times a day. And she always picks up, and I need that sometimes. Thank you. David Brooks, in his new book, recognizes the power of what he calls community weavers. These are individuals who are building community and weaving the social fabric. Jeannie is one of those weavers. Weavers share a belief system that puts relationship over self. They demonstrate deep hospitality. They show up for people, and they keep showing up. They are somewhere, not anywhere, they're somewhere. They're firmly planted in their local community. Jeannie is certainly one of these extraordinary people who make the difference. Okay. Thank you, Jeannie, from me personally and from everyone, the whole community.
I said those were the nicest things anyone's ever said about me. It was really nice. I wanted to recognize my fellow board of directors that are also leaving the board at this time. Jen Orcutt, could you come up, sweetheart? Jen has been a dedicated 4-year member of the board. She has been such a thoughtful person as part of our board discussions, and she has led our outreach committee with dedicated care, bringing speakers, programming, and much more to our community, and you've been so really appreciated. Yeah. Mike Ross. Mike has been such an affable member of our board and always had insightful comments to share. We will always remember when Mike took it upon himself to ask friends to donate to AB United Way in lieu of buying him a birthday gift. It was very sweet. And then our outstanding student board members, Ronak Gupta, Mehul Suri, and Sahithi Chirla. They've been just terrific. Now I'd like to introduce our incoming board president, who is no doubt just going to be spectacular, Christina Richlick.
Thank you all for coming tonight. As you know, this is a time of transition for the AB United Way. Back on April 1st, when Rachel announced her resignation, and it did cross my mind, maybe it was an April Fool's joke, many of us felt very uncertain and overwhelmed. I did because I had just agreed to become the incoming president. But we quickly channeled that and became motivated to form a search committee for our new executive director. Many thanks to Marie Altieri. Marie, could you stand just quickly? Marie helped me to run that search process, and for the other members of the search committee for your hard work. Board members Martha Papalia, Karen Collins, Bill Hickey, and Mark Burak, and former board members Catherine Longwell, Peter McKeon, and Lauren Rosenzweig Morton. It was a great process that you should all be proud of. Thank you very much. To that end, I'm very pleased to announce Greet Dehenschutter as our incoming executive director. Greet is with us tonight. Please stand as well. You'll find a copy of her very impressive bio in your program booklet tonight, but suffice it to say, Greet has a magnetic personality and is an energizing force. I'm excited for what she'll bring to our organization and how we will work together. I hope that you'll help me welcome her to the AB United Way in the coming months. Thank you, Greet. Now I'd like to also announce and welcome our new board members. As I read your name, I would love you to stand so people can also see your face and match your face with your name. I have not seen Judy Rowland here tonight. Judy, are you here? She's in Italy, I forgot, yes, okay. So Judy is joining our board. Janice Regan also has a son on the AB lacrosse team, and they've got, I think, oh, Janice is here. Yay. Of course, I'm wondering if they won. Did they win? Oh my gosh. Okay, Janice, thank you for coming. Pat Easterly is also joining the board. Pat? Thank you. Amy Sorrell. And lastly, Jill O'Brien. We will also have 2 incoming high school board members, but I don't think that's finalized yet. We appreciate all of you and your commitment to our organization, and so look forward to having you on the board. One quick reminder, in the back of the room this evening, we have 2 large platters for Jeannie and Rachel that you can write on with a porcelain marker. So I'd love it if you haven't signed those to do that before you leave tonight for memory, for keepsakes for them. And lastly, I'd like to turn it over to Ruma Nioji. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Every year we announce Volunteer of the Year. So this year we are going to give the award to the Volunteer of the Year, all our Casino Royal dealers. So we have actually a bunch of them, but but today I think we have 2 who could come today. So I'm going to call them first here. So I'm call their name. Please come in here. Cliff Meyer. And Chitro Niyogi. So we really like to, extremely pleased to recognize our volunteers. Because of their hard work, our annual Casino Royal event, they are like all our guests come back because of their because of their fun-filled attitude. So we're really thankful for them.
We are so honored to have Jamie Eldridge with us here tonight, Senator Jamie Eldridge, and he's going to come forward and say a few words about Rachel. I think that you guys go back a long time, right? Many, many years. So thank you so much, Jamie.
Well, thank you so much. And it's correct. Most people here have known Rachel for 10 years. I've had the pleasure of knowing her for 20 years. And it goes back to when I was a law student at Boston College Law School and had a strong sense that I wanted to go into public interest law and, dare I say, politics, but really didn't know what direction to take. And Rachel was the public interest career counselor in the Office of Career Services at BC Law. And I was immediately drawn to Rachel for 2 main reasons. Is first, her deep commitment to public service, which we've seen here in Acton and Boxborough for the past 10 years, but also she has an excellent sense of humor. And I don't know if you remember what I did. Steve remembers, okay. So in order to make a little extra money, I worked in the Office of Career Services, which is how Rachel and I got to know each other. And Boston College Law School, while a Jesuit school, the law school was fairly focused on sort of corporate law. And so what would come through the weekly calendar of different internships for the summer for law students was mostly corporate legal jobs. So I thought it would be fun to create a different legal internship. And I wrote it down to remind myself. It said, "Seeking legal interns, Barnum and Bailey Circus. Helping with liability issues for elephants, lions, and tigers." Completely made up. And it was published in the weekly internship listing. And the director of the Office of Career Services was very upset. And I probably didn't last too long in the office as a student, but I always remember that you laughed and you appreciated my joke.
The only one.
I think the only one, yep. So I just really got a close sense of your personality, but also your commitment to public service. And so I was so happy 10 years later for you to be announced as the executive director of the Acton Boxborough United Way. And I think we met very soon after you got the position and had lunch. And Rachel, I'm just so amazed at how you have raised the level of the Acton Boxborough United Way. I think about issues of supporting immigrants. And I was here Sunday night when this art gallery opened by Indian artists in the area. This is not something that would have happened in Acton and Boxborough, 10, 15 years ago. So needing to support our immigrant community. Addressing food insecurity, which you heard from Mike and the Acton Community Supper, and the fact that even though the economy is so strong, the numbers of families that go to the food pantry, that go to the community supper, continue to rise. Domestic violence and the amazing work of the Domestic Violence Services Network and Jackie and her staff and her volunteers. And the housing crisis we have here in Massachusetts, that not everybody is upper middle class in Acton and Boxborough, and there's actually a lot of people falling through the cracks and need the support services that the Housing Authority provides in part through a grant from the Acton Boxborough United Way. And then, of course, there's the mental health challenges. And as someone who grew up in Acton, that has really seen the stress levels for young people grow in so many ways, and so many new challenges that I never had to face growing up in Acton. And Rachel, I can't thank you enough for forming AB Cares and this incredible support network that were mentioned earlier. And really, I see AB Cares and your work as sort of the first entity that stepped forward that said to the community, that said to the school district, that we really need to address the mental health crisis that still exists in Acton and Boxborough now is being better addressed. So, Rachel, I just want to thank you for your leadership, your 20-year friendship, your appreciation of my very bad joke. And I have a citation here from the State Senate, so I'd like to read it to you, if you want to come up. Is this your first citation?
No.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
I had a driving citation.
I've heard that one before. So, State Senate citation, be it hereby known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Rachel Sagan in recognition of your 10 years of dedicated service to the community as the executive director of the Acton Boxborough United Way. And as much as I say congratulations, I will also say I'm a little sad. I wish you the best, but you showed tremendous leadership here, and we're all going to miss you. Congratulations. Remember that. Yep. You want to put it over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should get ice cream later.
So one of the things that Rachel's going to get from us tonight is a collection of notes that people from the community have been sending me, and we thought there would be no nicer way to kind of illustrate the impact that Rachel has had on so many people in our community than by reading some of the excerpts from these notes. So I'm going to start, and then Jill and Shelley will also read a few. The impact that you have made on the Acton Boxborough community is broad, deep, and beyond measure. Your work has touched so many lives, and this community is stronger, healthier, and more resilient because of you. Your courage, your vision, and your dedication brought such an important subject, suicide, out into the open. You gave a voice to the community and helped to take away any shame or stigma. It was all those things that produced AB Cares. You have cultivated a dedicated board of directors, community volunteers, as well as loyal and generous donors. Just imagine how many lives you've touched and people you have helped in the past 10 years.
Rachel, you were instrumental in showing us how to channel our passion for the community into meaningful programs and impact. As a result, your influence will continue long after the end of your term. You have been a great friend and a true ally, not only to the community, but also to those of us around you. Your positive, warm, inclusive, and calm energy permeates throughout the organization. From day one, you have made me feel welcome. You have made me feel valuable to the group. You have made me feel smart. You have made me feel inspired to do more. You have made me feel included, and you have made me feel happy and to be part of such a special, special effort.
You are a sensitive, empathetic, and compassionate woman who understands the subtleties of the human experience and psyche. Your wisdom and sense of humor will be sorely missed. Thank you, Rachel, for 10 years of enriching our community by building strong and meaningful relationships, developing innovative programming, and providing steady support, compassion, friendship, and laughter to all. We wish you the best, and we will miss you.
Oh my God. And now I think we're going to have Laura Kay come forward.
My job is to introduce Open Door Theater, but you gave me a microphone, and I'm going to take a second to talk about Jeannie and Rachel. Ibit Spears is the person who got me involved in United Way, and I started out as a volunteer for the Grants Committee. I had no idea I would end up chairing the Grants Committee, but Rachel is really good at finding people and tapping them for specific jobs and really bringing out their talent. And I feel fortunate that I've got to serve as a board member, as the chair of the Grants Committee, currently as a policy advisor, and working with Jeannie and Rachel, particularly this last year, has been so important to my life and inspirational, and I'm going to miss you both very much. Okay, on to the talent. For over 30 years, Open Door Theater has provided an accessible experience for families from Acton and surrounding communities. Through the ABUW grants, we have supported them and really been engaged with them. In particular, some of our grants have gone towards ASL interpretation and open captioning. If you have never been to an Open Door Theater production, you are truly missing something. Their performances are transformative, they're inspired, they really bring theater to a whole new level, and it's a different type of theater because of everything that they're making accessible to people, and it's magical. It's magical. It's better for having made it accessible. And you're in for a real treat this evening with some numbers from A Little Mermaid.
That's fine. Our last production was Little Mermaid. It was right around the corner. This upcoming year will be our 40th year in Acton. In The Little Mermaid, we had 100 actors on stage. We have a special mission of accessibility. So of those 100 actors, 35 self-identify as having special needs. I couldn't fit all 100 up here for you. So I brought the 4 that I could. So this, Zoe, you get a bonus because Zoe's my daughter, and this was her first production this year. Casey, this is her second production. She's a high school student, and she was playing Ariel. Drew, this is his second production, their second production, playing the prince this year. And Maddie is an old friend of Open Door. She did her first production at 9 years old, and she came back this year as Ursula. And Nina, this was her first production, and she played Sebastian the Crowd. John Eldridge is our musical director, and he can do magic all on his own. So we're lucky to have him. So without further ado, I think we're going to do Part of Your World. Sure.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one camera hold? Looking around here, you think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I've got more. I want to be where the people are. I wanna see 'em dancing, walking around on those, what do you call 'em? Oh, feet. Flipping your feet, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they ride, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? What would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand? Betcha on land, they understand that they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know I'm the below. Ask 'em my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn. When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above? Out of the sea. Wish I could be part of that world.
Hi, it's fun to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm Maddie, Franny, Osmond's daughter. Cool. Great crowd. So I did Open Door from 2003 to 2007 or 8, and then came back this year. Auditioned for Ariel, but got the role of Ursula. So it's okay, but I'm really glad that I did. So this is Poor Unfortunate Souls, and playing Flotsam and Jetsam, my evil eels, is Zoe. I admit that in the past I've been nasty. They weren't kidding when they called me, well, a witch. But you'll find that nowadays I've mended all my ways, repented, seen the light, and made a switch. True, yes. And I fortunately know a little magic. It's a talent that I always have possessed. And here lately, please don't laugh, I use it on behalf of the miserable, lonely, and depressed. Pathetic, poor, unfortunate souls in pain, in need. There's one longing to be thinner, that one wants do. Now it's happened once or twice, someone couldn't pay the price, and I'm afraid I had to rake them across the coals. Yes, I've had the odd complaint, but on the whole I've been a saint to those poor unfortunate souls. You'll have your looks, your pretty face, and don't underestimate the power of body language. The men up there don't like a lot of blabber. They think a girl who gossips is a bore. Yes, on land it's much preferred for ladies not to say a word. And after all, dear, what is idle prattle for? Come on! They're not all that impressed with conversation. True gentlemen avoid it when they can, but they dote and swoon and fawn on a lady who's withdrawn. It's she who holds her tongue who gets her man. Come on, you poor unfortunate souls! Go ahead! Make your choice. I'm a very busy woman and I haven't got all day. It won't cost much, just your voice. You poor unfortunate souls! It's sad, but true. If you want to cross the bridge, my sweet, you've got to pay the toll. Take a gulp and take a breath. Go ahead and sign the scroll. Lots of jets and now I've got her, boys. The boss is on a roll. You poor unfortunate
And next up we have One Step Closer. Dancing is a language that is felt instead of heard. You can whisper a single shot without so much as a word, trying to go on like so. Soon as you remember what's inside, slip on through. Boundaries between us disappear, and every little step, every single step is one step closer, singing loud and clear. Once the music hits you and the visions fall away, you'll find yourself expressing things your voice daren't say. Don't be afraid, let go. As soon as you surrender what's inside, slip on through. The boundaries between us disappear, and every little step, every single step is one step closer, speaking loud and clear. Our dance isn't like a conversation, except your lips don't ever need to part. Once you've begun, you speak as one, give and take, back and forth, round and round. Our dance is like a conversation, except you never need to make a sound. Once you've begun, you speak as one, cheek to cheek, toe to toe, heart to heart. Dancing is a language that is felt instead of heard, but it says much more than a language ever could. And every little step, every little step is one step closer, one step closer, one step closer.
proud of these guys because they haven't done this since the first week of April, and I figured they remember the lyrics, but the choreo, I know it. We also make it very hard on them because you gave us a great grant. The United Way gave us a wonderful grant, and now we open caption all of our shows. So we project, using integrated projections, the lyrics to the performance on the proscenium for the entire audience that's illustrated. It makes it very hard on our actors, though, because they can't ad-lib, because it's right up there. You all know it.
I mess up every night, so you know what I mean?
And then Nina was our Sebastian, and she made a heck of a crabby crab.
It was a really fun time. It was challenging, but it was fun. And feel free to sing along.
Had to do it without 100 of her closest friends singing. So she did a great job without the backup singer. Thank you for letting us participate in your send-off at your annual meeting. And we're thrilled to be part of the AB community that's so supportive to the arts and inclusion.
Well, that was just terrific. I think we all feel like dancing now. But Rachel just said that this is the best party that she's ever been to. So I feel like this is mission accomplished. That's what we wanted. But we wanted to invite everyone to stay. We have cake, and we wanted people to have time with Rachel and to be able to say hello to Greet. And so hopefully people can stay. We'd love that. And thank you all so much for coming tonight and joining us.